Supporting people to become self-aware is not a one and done kind of exercise. It's an ongoing learning process. So in this video, I share 3 activities that explore self-awareness from 3 different angles. You'll want to stick around for the last one because it's super simple, but really gets to the heart of what's going on. Hi, I'm Kerry Price. I'm the founder of the Facilitators Network, and I use the principles of deliberate generosity to make sure that no meeting is ever wasted. I've been facilitating for 20 odd years, and in that time I've led thousands of meetings, workshops and community conversations. Nowadays I help other trainers and facilitators do it well too. Exploring self-awareness comes in all different shapes and forms. So in this video I'm going to share with you 3 different kinds of activities. The first is a great warm-up or icebreaker connection activity to lead people gently into the idea of being self-aware. The second activity helps people get present so that they can really start to notice what's going on in a room. And the third one looks at beliefs, which is at the heart of everything we do. Activity 1 is called Leave and Bring. And I use this activity in a whole bunch of different workshops, but it's particularly useful if you're going into a session talking about self-awareness. To begin with, I just acknowledge that we've all arrived at this workshop in different places and spaces, and our mind might be all over the place. Some of us might have arrived still thinking about an email we haven't sent or an argument we had with our partner, but there's things that are going on that may stop us from being totally present in the workshop. So the first part of this activity is to invite people to think about what do they need to leave at the door in order to be fully present in the room. I let people know that they don't need to share this with other people unless they want to, but that I want to give them just a minute or two to think about what they need to leave behind and jot it on a piece of paper. Once they've taken a moment to jot those things down, I allow anyone who wants to share it into the room to speak it out loud, and then I simply invite people to put all their pieces of paper into a basket with a lid, and I literally take it outside the door. Put it in the hallway so that they are leaving it at the door. That's step 1. And that's a beginning thinking of being self-aware. Oh wow, yeah, I am bringing stuff to the room that I need to get rid of. Step 2 in the process is to invite people to be intentional about what they want to bring to the room. I let people know that this time they will be sharing this with other people in the group, so they need to think really carefully about what would be most useful to bring and what they're happy to share with others. This ties nicely into a conversation around self-awareness because it gets people thinking about what characteristics, values, behaviours, actions they might need to bring for the good of everyone. We don't always see our blind spots, that's why they're called blind spots, but this gets people reflecting on what they might be. I'll never forget the session I was in with a team. The team leader had been in this organisation for about 20 years and by her own self-confession was pretty stuck in her ways. When we did this activity at the beginning of one of their team sessions, she said that what she wants to intentionally bring to the room is a willingness to not say, yeah, but. The energy in the room completely shifted as the rest of her team heard her say that out loud. As an extra point to this activity, I often invite people to write what they are intentionally bringing to the room on a card and place it in front of where they're sitting. That means the rest of the group can hold each other accountable as we go through the day. Activity 2. This is called Is There Someone Behind Me? And this activity is designed to help people get really present to the energy that exists around them. Some people think it's a bit woo-woo to start with, but once they've given it a go, it really hits home what you notice when you're intentional about it. How this works is I invite people to stand up and find themselves a space in the room standing about a metre or so apart. They need to be standing in such a way that other people can walk in and out and weave their way through the people. Once everyone is in place, I invite 2 or 3 people to volunteer to be roaming energy. Their job is simply to roam around the room and stand behind people to see if they notice. So the people standing in the room are standing with their eyes closed, and the roaming energy is roaming around, choosing a person to stand behind, and then just standing and being present. If I'm standing and I think someone is standing behind me, I need to say, is there someone behind me? If I'm right, I then take over the role of roaming energy. If I'm wrong, I need to go and sit down. If the roaming energy gets to stand behind someone for 10 seconds and not be noticed, they tap them on the shoulder and they're out of the game. I often play this game 2 or 3 times in a row to demonstrate that the more we practice being present, the easier it is to notice. Activity 3, complete the sentence. This activity can be used in all sorts of different contexts, depending on what sentence starters you use. But for me, I'm most often working with independent trainers and facilitators who want to grow their business. And what we recognize as we start to unpack their practice is it's not that they lack the skill set, it's that they don't really believe they can do it. It's getting to the core beliefs that make a difference. And that goes for anyone in any industry, in any sector trying to do anything new. It's often not skill set, it's beliefs that are getting in the way. This activity helps people become more self-aware of the beliefs they're carrying so that then they can do something about shifting them. It's super simple. I use a set of cards that look like this. And on each card there is a different sentence starter. This one says, as I look back, I. This one says, I'm gradually. It's only normal. And people get to complete those sentences however they choose. Now, how you use these cards is up to you. I will most often write the sentence starter on a board and give people a chance to reflect on their own before sharing with a partner. Depending on the vulnerability in the group or the trust that exists in the group, you might pass out these cards to everyone, get them to match up in pairs. They share their responses to each of the sentence starters, swap cards, find a new partner, and repeat the process. Simply by finishing the sentence, they will start to become more aware of the beliefs that they truly hold. I happen to use these cards called Complete the Sentence, but you can equally make your own cards on little index cards and make the sentence starters relevant to whatever it is that you're working on. When I'm running self-awareness training with groups, once they've done the Complete the Sentence activity, I often then invite them to share what they noticed. People complete the sentences in completely different ways, which means more than one thing could be true. Which of the beliefs are serving you? If you want to take people on an even deeper journey of self-awareness, you'll want to help them explore their core values, because core values dictate a whole lot of things in the way people show up. In my next video, Core Values Training Activities, I share 3 activities that help people identify what's most important to them and what those values look like in action. The link's in the description below. I'll see you there.